Are we live?
We are live, Aaron.
Whoa. Hello and welcome to our first ever live edition of the Plowers Playbook. Should be pretty fun. So our setup today, we're live on YouTube, and we'll put this out as a show for you to watch after and listen back to as well. But we wanted to do a live spot and just give an opportunity for people to come on and ask questions that might be specific to their situation. In the meantime, I've prepared a market update for everybody as well. And what we're going to do is go over the sold, units sold, listings availability, all of your numbers and stats, a market update from where we finished at the end of June. So the way real estate works, because we're kind of a lagging business in the sense of like the transactions happening now, don't actually close until then type of thing. So we recap every month at the end of that month. So today we are going to go over what we did for June. So this is all in the Las Vegas, Henderson, basically everything involving Clark County here in Vegas. All right. We're going to start with single family, then we'll move on to condos and townhouses. We do have them separated in a sense just because they are not the same type of properties. And we'll get started. We have the infamous Al King here with us today. He is the man behind the camera. Can you say hello, Al?
Hello, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm happy that this is up and running and working because the infamous man behind the camera is in charge of this stuff. So
yes, yeah. If it's not working, it's your fault.
Correct.
For sure. So I introduced Al because if you do have questions, you put anything in the chat, he is going to be the man that will forward those along, and then I'll be able to hopefully answer for you. So feel free to send, questions, comments, anything that you might have, and we'll do our best to respond accordingly. Even have my phone on the desk here in case we have anybody calling in with questions. So you're more than welcome to do that as well. That was a spam call, so we'll let that one slide. And we'll get started. So we're talking about, again, May 2026. So we'll state the numbers where they finished, June. State the numbers where they finished at the end of June, how that was different from May the month before, and also how that was different year over year from June of 2025. So that's what we'll be rolling through today. We're going to start with single family homes and units sold. So in June, we finished with 2,302 single family homes sold. That was up 11.4% from last month and up 18.3% year over year. So we are selling more properties than we were last month and almost 20% more than we were this time last year. So interesting. I always just think that these numbers are interesting to go through when you hear from certain, entities or on the news, like, oh, the market is slow. We're not selling as much. Well, actually, we're selling 20% more than we were this time last year. Median price. So we're going to go over median price and average. I've said this before, but I'll repeat it just in case you are listening for the first time. The median is the true middle point, which means if you took all the homes sold, it's going to pick the direct middle. The average is if you add up all the homes sold and divide them by the 2302 that sold, it'll find the over average. So I like median better personally. I think median is more of a true tell. The thing with average is you could have a $10 million house that sells that month and it totally skews the average up way more than, what the true middle would be. So we'll tell you both, but I'm more of a fan of median when it comes to really watching the market. Median price of single family homes, $490,000, 0% change from last month, exactly the same. It's up 1% from June of last year. So we've had 1% growth in price, or relatively the same. Average price, $628,394, up 2.2% from last month, down 1.3% from last year. So all in all, very, very similar. New listings. We had 3,368 new listings coming on the market for single family homes last month. That was up 1.8% from May, the month before, and up 3.6% from the year before. So just for context, we had 3,368 new listings and 2,302 sales. It just shows you, if you look at those two numbers, our supply still slightly outweighs our demand. we're listing more than we're selling. Okay. Our median price of those new listings, $515,000. That's down 1% from the month before, down 0.9% from the year before. So year over year, 0.9. If you go back again, new listings, median price 515, median price sold was 490. So that pretty much shows you that we're getting pretty close, within $25,000 on the median of what we're listed versus what we actually sell for. So there's wiggle room, right? You can negotiate price a little bit more. In previous years, and the market's going wild and supply is super low, you'd see those numbers almost inverted at times, which is an interesting place to be. Average price of those new listings, $701,291, down 2.8% month over month, down 4.7% year over year. All right, so incremental changes, nothing big. Now we're going to go over the number of units available. Okay, I'm going to do this as only truly available, nothing under contract included. Okay, so only the number of units available, excluding any offers or under contracts. There are currently 7,147 properties, single-family units available on the market. That supply number is up 5.4% from the month before and up 2.2% year over year. So we are up slightly. Year over year, we have a little bit more inventory, but nothing major. 2.2% is a pretty low number there. Median price of the available units, $549,900. There's a 0% change in month and year over year for that number. Exactly the same. Average price, $910,970, down 1.5% from the month before and up 1.4% year over year. So what that shows me is it's a big difference between median and average, right? Remember, median was 549, average is 910. It's a big difference. That shows me that a lot of our availability is luxury properties, meaning those that are probably close to or over $1 million. Looks like there's a pretty large supply of those, just with that number being so different. The average is definitely skewed on that one. We're going to go next number is effective months of availability. Just to further explain this to you, the way we track it is it means if no more homes came on the market, how long would it take us to sell through the current supply? Currently, it would take us 3.1 months. So that is our effective availability. What's on the market? 3.1 months. That's down 5.4% month over month, down 13.6% year over year. Okay, so our effective months of availability actually slightly down. And I think that's because we're selling a little bit more than we were this time last year. Remember, the number of units sold year over year was up 18.3%. So that's kind of, I think, where that's coming from. Time on market for the units sold. This month, 58.2% are selling between 0 and 30 days. So almost 60% of your homes are still selling within the first 30 days. It's exactly the same as it was last month. And year over year, it's slightly down. It was 61.4% June of last year. So pretty similar. 31 to 60 days, 20.3% of homes. 61 to 90 days, 10.3%. 91 to 125%. And over 121 days on the market to sell, only 6.3%. So still, the majority of your properties that sell, in fact, 78.5% of them are selling within 60 days. Okay, so for all of you telling me that the market is bad, 78% of homes are still selling within the first 60 days. Seems pretty good to me. All right, that was single family. We're going to switch over to condos and townhouses now. We're going to start up at the top, work our way down, same way. I do have, by the way, these slides are available at the end of every month. If any of you would like to actually have the slides or use them or get a deeper look into any specific numbers, just reach out and email us. It's Aaron, Aaron, my first name, at powersre.com. It's my direct email. You can always call us for anything you need as well. 702-768-5536. Just be nice when you call. It'll be me on the other end of the phone. So that's all I ask. All right. Condos and townhouses. Number of units sold in June, 521. That is up 2.4% from month before and up 1.2% year over year from last June. Median price of those units sold for condo townhouse, $292,000, down 1% from the month before, down 4.3% year over year. So it actually looks like the condo townhouse market has a little more of a slight decrease in price year over year than what single family units are holding. So interesting to note. The average price is $353,255. The average price is up 10% from last month and up 12.7% year over year. So you can just see how the average is kind of always skewed from the median. Number of new listings coming on the market this month, condo townhouse 907, down 4.6% from the month before, down 2.1% year over year. So again, same consistent with the units sold. We had 907 new listings, 521 sales. So that's your difference in supply and demand for condo and townhouse. Now we're going to go down, tell you the median price and average price of those listings. So the median price, $285,000. Remember, the median price of sold was $292,000. So the sold price is actually a little higher median than even the listing price. Good news if you own a condo or townhouse. That is down $285,000 median price, down 0.7% from last month, down 4.2% year over year. Average price $306,420. That is down 1.7% month over month, down 11.3% year over year. So still bigger skews and changes with the average. Now we're going to talk about availability. So this is your inventory, number of units available on the market, not including anything that's in an offer or pending status. Condo townhouse, 2,690 available units. That's up 1.9% from last month, up 4.9% last year. Median price, $270,000. It is down 1.8% from last month, down 3.5% year over year. And then we're going to do average. The average of the availability, 317,177, down 1.6% last month, down 8.9% from last year. Effective months of availability. Interestingly enough, we have more. It would take us longer to sell through condos and townhouse just because we don't sell quite as many of them. We have 5.2 months of effective availability or inventory for condo townhouses, down 0.4% last month. It is up 3.7% from last year. Okay, so just going through the numbers in general, it looks to me that the condo townhouse market is slightly down compared to the single family home market in Las Vegas. I would argue that your single family homes are relatively worth what they were a year ago for the most part. Your condos and townhouses seem like they may be worth a little bit less or maybe not holding the value to the same degree as your single family units are. Now we'll talk about time on market for units sold for condos and townhouses. 44.1% are selling within 0 to 30 days. A month ago, it was 47.2%, and a year ago, it was 50.7%. So they're taking a little longer to sell than they were this time last year. 31 to 60 days, 23.6%. 61 to 90 days, 14.6%. 91 to 120 days, 8.4%. And 121 days or more on the market to selling, 9.2% of the inventory. So I'll combine the days, same thing as single family. We are selling 67.7% of condos and townhouses still within the first 60 days on the market. So homes are still selling if they're priced appropriately and they're well cared for and you're presenting a good product. I think it's pretty safe to say that unless you're just out of line on one of those things I just said, you're probably going to be able to sell within the first 60 days on the market. So good news. We're seeing the same kinds of things when it comes to offers for buyers and sellers. Generally speaking, you are within the first 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to get the most people looking, the most interest in the property. Those are really your most important time. We want to be priced right to begin with, especially if we're listing. We can adjust price, no doubt about it. We just may be one of those that's in that 31 to 60 day category instead of that 0 to 30. So just keep that in mind and do not be afraid to negotiate that first offer. We're still seeing the first offer coming in and being sometimes the best negotiable, even if it isn't exactly what you want. Probably more power to negotiate with that person only on the market for a little bit of time rather than waiting. And now the next one comes in. Now you've been on the market for 20 days, 30 days, 40 days. It becomes harder to negotiate up to your price. So just keep that in mind. I still think it's worthwhile to put your best foot forward from the very beginning. As a seller, price the house the way it should be. As a buyer, if the property's brand new on the market, be aggressive in your offer. If it's been on the market for a while, let's see what we can do. Let's negotiate to the best of our ability.
There's a question in the chat, Aaron.
Okay. All right. I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Jessica.
Okay.
And she says, thinking about buying as a new home buyer, I've heard there are benefits, but what are they and how do I know if I qualify?
Good question. Okay. So first thing is the first time home buyer. It is a vastly over-marketed term, in my opinion. So it doesn't mean that you don't get benefits of being a first-time buyer. You do. It just means that they're not exponential, I think, the way that they're marketed a lot of times. They market first-time home buyers because they know that's a large section of people that are going to be getting into the market. The truly best benefit you have as a first-time buyer, if you qualify, meaning your credit is good enough and you have, the things necessary to qualify, you can get a conventional loan at as low as 3% down instead of the traditional 5% down, right? Meaning you can get in for a lower down payment. The other option you have, which most people do. So I'll start by saying I'm not a mortgage lender. I'm not a licensed mortgage lender. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a real estate agent. So this is my opinion. It may not necessarily always be factual. But when you are a first-time buyer, a lot of people associate that with some sort of down payment assistance program, which you absolutely do have access to. The way that most mortgage lenders look at first-time buyers is anyone who has not purchased a property within the last 3 years. So if you have not purchased a property within the last 3 years, you would be considered a first-time buyer. You could take advantage of that conventional loan with as low as 3% down. You could also qualify for certain down payment assistance programs if you need them. My opinion on down payment assistance is we like to use it if we need it. If we can get by in the transaction with our own funds, I would always recommend people go that route. You can get down payment assistance. Sometimes it comes with caveats or stipulations on how long you have to live in the property. It can also make your interest rate and your closing costs slightly higher. So it just goes in life, like nothing's free, right? So if you borrow or utilize grant programs for a down payment or money within the transaction, it's generally going to cost you more in the long run, right? So we're always looking at real estate as a long-term investment. In the short term, if it's the only thing that allows you to get into the house and start building equity, then absolutely go for it. Take the assistance and, run your race, right? If you can do it without it, that would be my recommendation. But it doesn't mean that it's not good for certain people. We have clients that use down payment assistance all the time. We just always like to make sure that that is the best option for them, not taking free money just because you can get it. So that would be my answer for first-time buyers. And then the second part was how do you know if you qualify? Yes? Okay.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Okay. No, that's okay. So how do I know if you qualify? Well, main answer to that question is you'd have to fill out a mortgage application. Truthfully, that's the only way to really know. I could give you examples on payment. I could give you examples on, what this house would cost you at that rate, but it would all be estimates. The only way for you to truly know if you can qualify is to actually talk to a mortgage lender, fill out some sort of mortgage application, and provide your information to them to give you a full approval. So what that means is you'll likely have a phone conversation to begin with. The application will generally be through an online portal or online profile, very similar to a job application, rental application. They're going to ask you who you are, all of your information, where have you lived, where have you worked, what accounts do you have, all of that kind of stuff. The second part of that is they're going to start asking you for information. So they're going to want your IDs, they're going to want your W-2s or 1099s or bank statements or pay stubs or potentially all of the above. So like I own and operate my own business. Al, I know you do too. Mortgages for us are a heck of a lot of fun because they require a ton of documentation. Now, if you are an hourly salaried employee, it is a lot more straightforward. You just can go to HR, whoever you get to get your pay stubs, a couple months of bank statements and tax returns, and you're probably set to get qualified. Okay. So that's really the way to figure it out, Al, to answer the question like long-winded. The other thing I'll say just about qualifying is it's kind of a puzzle in a sense, right? Like we need to know credit, we need to know assets, we need to know income, and we need to know debts. Those are like the four things they're going to qualify you on. Okay. So if you don't have great credit, but you've got assets, good income, and not a whole lot of debt, you could probably still get qualified for what you're looking for. If you have, not the best income, but outstanding credit and very little debt, you're probably in a good spot. We just can't be missing all four, right? We can't have more debt than we have income, low credit, and no assets to stand on. Like we've got to work on creating the best picture to the puzzle of those four things as we can. That way the lender or the bank or whoever you're loaning the money from looks at that and says, okay, you're a qualified borrower. Yes, I'd like to give you a loan for the next 30 years, right? I mean, think about it. If you were going to lend someone money for the next 30 years, how would you feel after you looked at all their information? That's kind of the landscape of what we're talking about in qualifying. For your down payment assistance programs, most of them are good with a 640 credit score or higher. Most of your loan programs in general without assistance will allow you to have somewhere around a 580 credit score or better to get qualified in general. So those are some kind of like guidelines for you. There's also special programs out there for people who are teachers, first responders, union employees, culinary, electrical workers. I mean, there's essential workers that some people have. So there's all kinds of programs out there. Just be careful. Trust the people you're talking to. Like these people are good at marketing for a reason. So don't just think that, hey, you're qualified to borrow. Here's $20,000 for free. What else is there? Like, what's the catch? What's the fine print? Don't just take the money because you think that's the best option. That's the one thing I would recommend is just make sure we look further into it.
Cool. That's good.
Awesome.
I had a kind of a follow-up, but then you answered it.
Okay.
You mentioned like business owners and stuff. So how, if you're not hourly, those four ingredients that you just said basically are still kind of the withstanding for getting approved?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I'll just say for us, I guess, it'll depend on how you pay yourself, right? How is your business? Is your business incorporated? Is it just you? Do you file taxes as an S corp, a C corp? Like we're kind of getting into like, detailed oriented things. But you may take an owner draw of $100,000 a year. Let's just give an example, right? And that's one thing. somebody else in your position may take a $60,000 salary from the business, right? So if my business makes $200,000 that year, but I only take a $60,000 salary, what is my income? It's $60,000. I can't go back and say, but my business made this. They're going to say, well, your tax return says that you made $60,000. So you just, the most important thing, if you are making these decisions for yourself or setting up your own tax liabilities or implications, you want to make sure that you know what you want to do in the future.
Let me ask you this. Is owner draw, if you do owner draw rather than salary, like you said, 100,000 owner draw versus 60,000, does that then count as your salary?
Essentially, the draw of what you take as an owner would be your income.
Yeah.
That would be your stated income.
But it's also taxable.
Correct.
Yeah.
But see, if you're not taking a salary, a lot of reasons people will do owner draws because you don't pay into Social Security and Medicare. So essentially you're just drawing money from the business. You're not actually paying in to the other things that the government could issue you back later.
Gotcha.
Right. So if you are an owner of a business and you don't take some sort of actual payment from the business, then you're not paying into Social Security and Medicare taxes through that income. So all that means is, like, when you get older, if you want to collect Social Security or use Medicare, you're going to now get far less of it than maybe your neighbor who makes half the amount of money you do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Because they're probably W-2'd, so they automatically share into Social Security and Medicare.
Yep. So theirs is growing at a rate that mine or someone else doing owner draw isn't.
Correct, because they're going to give you back a certain percentage of what you've given them. That's how the system works, right? Yeah. So if I think about it this way too, if you had a spouse and something happened to you first, the surviving spouse would get a certain percentage of the Social Security and Medicare liability of the other one who's no longer around. So even if it's not necessarily important to you, it may be a benefit for you to take a salary so that way your better half down the road gets to collect more if you're not around.
Heard.
Right? And so this is just a game. Like, you have to understand what your earning potential is, how hard you're going to work for the next, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, however old you are.
Yep.
And that will make a big difference. I have, it's kind of like similar to life insurance in a sense. It's like you can pay into life insurance and you could use it as an investment vehicle. Or what if you took that same amount of money and invested it into your own investments over time? What's the difference? Is it worth it?
What's better? What's worse?
Yeah. There's lots of schools of thought on this. Like, I gave you an example that somebody else would probably come on and say that it's completely wrong and you should do it this way, which is fine. Like, that's what makes us, all unique.
Yep. Cool.
So that would be, but that's my thing. Is just, I'm always trying to think down the road. Like, what would I want to have? What do I want? What do I want Emily to have access to or not? Right. Like, so I think sometimes we make decisions just for us, and then other times we make decisions for the people around us as well. So I think that's the difference.
Heard. Jessica thanked you for the information as well and the answer.
You're welcome, Miss Jessica. No problem. So market-wise, we are very similar to what we have been. Rates did go up a little bit since the last time we filmed this update, just a slight bit. I just want to say to all of you who are waiting until the rates go down to buy or sell a house, you might be waiting a while. Like, we've been waiting 3 years. It hasn't changed. So, this is my soapbox moment for all of you to, if it's something you want to do and you want to own property and build equity, the longer you wait for the rates to go down, the more time you're not in the game. So just keep that in mind. If you still don't think it's right for you, so be it. That's fine. But the waiting part in real estate is generally a really hard thing to factually come up with as a positive. It's just the game is in the longevity, right? Like I think I've said before, ask anyone who bought a house 30 years ago if it was a good or a bad decision. The real estate's worth more than it was 30 years ago. Like it always has been in the history of our country. It's always been worth more than it was before. As long as you hold it long term, you're always going to come out okay. Especially if we're talking about a primary residence. You're going to live somewhere and pay rent anyways. Right? So the waiting for the rates thing, I just want to say, I just don't think it's a good argument anymore. I just don't. It's come to the point where they're going to do what they're going to do. I don't think that should be the main factor in your decision making. I think the factor should be, can I do it? If I can, what can I get? Am I okay with that as a stepping stone? And can I move forward paying down my own debt versus helping another landlord or owner pay down theirs? Now, if you have other reasons why, more than happy to discuss those with you. But the rates going down, I think I'm done with that one. I think it's been too long. They're not changing, folks. We are where we are, right? We're still buying and selling houses. Shoot, what did we just listed 3,368 homes this month and sold 2,302 of them. I think people are still buying and selling real estate just fine. That's probably my my moment of the market of the moment in the things that people are saying.
That was an awesome soapbox moment, Aaron.
Yeah, you like that?
That was good. They're not going down.
They're just, I mean, if you just look at real estate over the last 2 or 3 years in Las Vegas, like what has really changed?
Not a lot.
The rates are relatively the same. Home prices are relatively the same. Like the landscape of the market, the economy and what's going on in the world may be slightly different, but there's always something, isn't there? There's always something to attach to of like, oh, I got to wait and see what happens with this. Wait and see what happens with that. And I just think we got to put ourselves in front of that. What's best for me?
I think the best thing that you say often is the right time to do it is when you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that a lot. And I think you said it on JC's pod last episode as well. But
yeah,
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And if you're waiting, it just doesn't seem like it's that drop that everyone's waiting for isn't near, at least.
I think the reason I say that so much and have confidence in it is just because I've seen so many people over the years that get ready to do it. And then they come up with one of those reasons that I stated. And then 2 or 3 years go by and life happens and they're no longer in a position to qualify for what they could have bought back then. They can still, they're okay making the payment, but something has changed in the fact of they went from 2 incomes to 1, or one of the breadwinners of the family started a business, or, changed the way they make money. They're no longer salary, they're hourly, or they're, hourly plus commission, or they're hourly plus bonuses. Well, now what you show on income that's repeatable on paper has changed. It doesn't necessarily mean you make less money or you can't make the payment anymore. It just means that there's less opportunity for you to get qualified for what you could have bought back then. That's the biggest reason I say that is you're going to do all the work to get qualified and give all your documents and get yourself set up. That's the time. To go through all of that again, now a couple years later, or, oh, I should have bought a house 5 years ago. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. It would have been great. You'd love your interest rate too. That's for sure. So that's what I mean. People, even at that point, it was like, oh, well, I can't buy because prices are too high. Rates were great. So it's always, you know what I mean? It's always something. To me, that thing is never the real reason. I think there's usually a larger underlying factor that is stopping. That like hitting people, it's probably something more emotional. You know, it could be relationship driven. It could be scared. I mean, sometimes we're scared to make big decisions, right? We don't want to commit to things that we might have to undo later. So we take the easier route and just keep doing what we're doing. So I think that has something to do with it. But I think there's always a bigger emotional force behind the reason that people get into owning real estate or don't. I don't think it's just the market or the rates or the prices. Like, I think those are the excuses most of us use from the real thing. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say, but I mean, I can even speak for myself. I've had opportunities to buy other properties and done research, and then have been like, I don't know if I want to commit that much money. Right. Like, so, we're all human. It's okay. But owning your own primary residence where you're going to be making a payment to yourself versus somebody else, to me, will never be a hill I don't stand on, I think, just because I've seen what it can do for people. So that's the big reason. But the rates or the price, like, there'll always be something, right? Like if rates went down today, if rates went right now down to like 3 or 4%, do you know what would happen to home prices?
They would go up.
They would go up because everybody would want to buy. So then all of a sudden you got your rate, but you're paying $20,000 to $25,000 more for the house.
Yeah, but they got the rate.
Yeah, but then prices are too high. Like it's never going to be perfect. It just isn't. The only way it's going to be perfect is if something happens in our economy and the whole world goes to shit, essentially. But at that point, a lot of us probably wouldn't be working, right? Or there'd be some other factor of why you couldn't proceed. So that is literally all of that in a nutshell is the main reason why I say the best time to do anything is when you have the availability to do it. Like when you can actually do it, move forward. Market conditions are for the most of us is an excuse, not the reason why or why not. So, but that's just one man's belief, that's just me.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. If you have other beliefs, please come on and tell us. Let's talk about it.
Are we going to attempt to do another one of these next month?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm up for it. Yeah. I think it'd be fun. I get the most joy out of helping people's individual circumstances. For any of you that know me and have talked you through how to do anything in particular, I like solving problems and helping people. So that's why I thought the Q&A would be a fun way of just making it a little bit more, easy and nonchalant for people to ask their questions without having to come in for an appointment or attend a class or something like that. So that's the main thing. And these questions can be anything. They don't have to be buying. It could be selling. Hey, I haven't sold a house in 20 years. Like, how does it work? What do I do to get ready? What's the process like? How long does it take? I want to buy my first investment property. I already own a home, but I want to buy another one. How do I get started? What does that look like? What do I do with the current house? There's all kinds of informational questions around there. I own 3 properties. I want to sell one and do a 1031 exchange to buy 2 others. How do I do that? Oh, great. I can help you. So there's all kinds of different levels, right? Like different levels, different devils. There's all kinds of different levels in where people are at in their journey of building wealth or investing or buying or selling real estate. So even if you had a question of like, I live with mom and dad and I want to get a rental property, what do I do? Like, we can help you. I can answer that for you too. So, I've been doing this for 10 years now, helping clients, agents, you name it. I'm a pretty good amount of knowledge that I can share. I definitely do not know everything. I'd be the first to admit that, but I know enough to be dangerous. So happy to help you if you have a question.
So if you're still listening or watching this, we plan on doing at least one more of these, and hopefully more of you will show up to the next one. I think I'll do a better job of getting it out a little bit earlier.
Yeah. I mean,
the people and the masses.
Everything is better with consistency and repetition. So we'll get it out, more, and we can collect questions along the way too. I think that would be an interesting one is to kind of poll or survey and collect questions before the show. and then we can answer them live on air, and then maybe bookmark those and send them back to the people who asked. That would be cool. I think that would be a good way to go.
Somehow Aaron always finds more work for me to do.
Oh, I'm great with yeah. So I come up with all the ideas and then you execute them. That's the way it works.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. I'm the artist and you're the operator. Those are the hats. I should get us hats. Mine will say artist and yours can say operator.
I'd wear an operator hat.
That's what I'm saying.
Without shame. Yeah.
Fits well. Just don't ask me to draw or paint or, not that kind of art. I don't know. I could do okay. My kids are getting pretty good at the arts though.
I think Violet probably is pretty artistic.
Mm-hmm.
I could assume.
Violet is pretty good. Pretty good. I think the best artist in our family is my niece, Amelia. Okay. She's a very good artist. Stuff that she produces, I'm like, wow, she's getting up there.
That's cool.
So shout out to you, Mia. But yeah, the kids are fun, man. If you haven't, just out there for you older folks or parents in the world, if you haven't sat down with your kids lately and just colored a random picture, that's therapy right there. I'm telling you, sit down at the kitchen table, give everybody a coloring sheet and get some crayons out. Man, nice, quiet coloring session. It'll totally change your perspective. Guarantee it. That's my task for all of you that watch or listen to this.
I'll say this. So
go color.
Jessica, fiance Jessica, she's auntie to 2 nephews and a niece. Mm-hmm. And every time they come over, she has a crafting session or, Play-Doh or something set up for them all to do together, like the first task that they do, which it's just awesome. And she does a great job with them. They love her a lot, so it's cool. I'm
telling you, man, like all those little things that make you a kid again, you get older, you got to do more of those. Like that, I think just perspective of having kids is like, I don't know if I ever would have sat down and colored a picture, but like they kind of force you into it. Like all of a sudden, they were starting to build Legos. I was like, man, I loved Legos when I was a kid. Now I'm like, I'll sit down and build a Lego.
That's cool.
It's really cool. So, all right. Well, how long have we been on?
It's been
45 minutes. Wow. All right. Yeah, made it a little ways.
Yeah, you can wrap it if you want here. Or.
If you've been listening or watching this long, kudos to you. And thank you for the support. We'll be back again soon. The Powers Playbook does come out every week. Different educational viewpoints on real estate in Las Vegas and Henderson. So please give us a like, a follow, subscribe to our channel. We're out here to help as many families as we can. Those are our values, family, honesty, and authenticity. So thank you all very much for your support.